After the destruction of Halo, the only two human survivors, Master Chief and Sergeant Major Johnson, are awarded for their actions while the Covenant punish the leader of the forces who failed to protect Halo. During these events, the Covenant attack Earth and Chief is forced to defend the space station where the ceremony is taking place. After removing a bomb from the station and delivering it to a Covenant ship, Chief makes his way down to Earth where he helps the Marines fight back the Covenant and in the process takes out a Scarab. Shortly after, Chief boards the UNSC ship in Amberclad that follows a retreating Covenant ship. Meanwhile, the now branded heretic is taken before the prophets, the religious leaders of the Covenant, who bestow the title of Arbiter to the elite, and tasks him with taking out a heretic that is rallying other heretics against the Covenant. After fighting through heretics and the Flood, the Arbiter confronts the heretic and meets the Monitor, who also survived the destruction of Halo. The Covenant referred to the Monitor as the Oracle, and after defeating the heretic, the brute leader Tartarus takes possession of the Monitor. In Amberclad, that followed the Covenant ship, discovers that the Covenant found another Halo and begins to land troops to locate the Prophet of Regret, who led the attack on Earth. Chief confronts and kills the Prophet in a temple before the Covenant start firing on the structure and forcing Chief to jump into the surrounding lake. He is then taken by an unknown creature that claims that this isn't his grave. The Arbiter is then tasked with journeying to Halo's library to uncover the index that will activate Halo and bring about the Great Journey, which is sort of the end goal for the Covenant. After fighting through the Flood and Sentinels, the Arbiter reaches the index but is betrayed by Tartarus, who attacks the Arbiter and sends him down a huge chasm. He then captures Sergeant Johnson and Commander Keyes, the daughter of late Captain Keyes. The Arbiter is also saved by the same unknown creature that saved Chief, that is revealed to be the Gravemind, essentially the leader of the Flood, and reveals to the Arbiter that the Great Journey will bring about the death of organic life. Gravemind sends the Arbiter and Chief to two different locations in order to stop the activation of Halo. Chief is sent to the Covenant Holy City of High Charity, and the Arbiter is sent to Halo's control center. Chief fights his way to the Prophets in time to see the death of the Prophet of Mercy, but it's too late to stop Tartarus, who has the index along with Keyes and Johnson. During this time, in Amberclad, now infested with Flood, crash lands on High Charity and the Flood swarm the city. Chief escapes by stowing away on the Prophet of Truth's Forerunner ship that is headed for Earth, but leaves behind Cortana, promising that he will return for her. Back on Halo, the Arbiter discovers that the Brutes and the Prophets have turned against the Elites. The Arbiter unites with his surviving kin, along with Sergeant Johnson in a captured Scarab, and attacks Halo's control center, where he fights against Tartarus that uses Keyes to activate Halo. After defeating Tartarus, Keyes retrieves the index and stops Halo from firing. The Monitor reveals that there are 5 other Halo rings, all controlled by the Ark. Meanwhile, Truth's ship arrives at Earth and Chief contacts Lord Hood, leader of the UNSC, and states that he has returned to finish the fight.